This episode of On Second Watch is sponsored by Canvas People. We have to ask, what do you do with the hundreds or likely thousands of pictures on your phone? If you're like me, they just sit there, taking up memory, when you should print your favorites and share the memory instead. Dana and I were just talking about a photo that I took of her and our daughter that we should print out one day. We've actually been saying that for just about 3 years now. So let's stop with the one-day talk and let Canvas People make that happen for you. If you go to canvaspeople.com/OSW, you get a 11 by 14 canvas print for free. All you have to do is upload your favorite picture, pay the shipping and handling, and find the perfect spot on your wall. It's that easy. You know, with this global pandemic and social distancing, it's making us miss our loved ones even more. So maybe consider sending someone a free work of art from Canvas People to brighten their day. Do yourself a favor and scroll through those thousands of photos, pick your favorite memories, and head to canvaspeople.com/OSW to get your free canvas print today.
In a world of big-budget blockbusters, travel back in time to explore the epic and not-so-epic movies of yesteryear. Join Tim, Chris, Dana, and Spaz on their adventures through Nostalgia Land. This is On Second Watch, a movie nostalgia podcast.
Today we are looking at 1986's American fantasy martial arts comedy film, Big Trouble in Little China. This is directed by John Carpenter, produced by Larry Franco, and co-written by three people, Gary Goldman, David Weinstein, and W.D. Richter. Alright, and this movie is also starring Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, James Hong, and the man of many weapons, Gerald Okamura. And one thing right off the bat I wanted to announce, super excited about this, but we had an opportunity to interview the man of many weapons, Gerald Okamura. He has, shared a lot of experiences about this movie, about his career, and 34 years later, he's still one of the most recognizable characters in this movie. I mean, he's even on the poster art. He's the guy with the double bandoleros, golden guns. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about that, and we'll have that in the middle of this episode. Now, Dana, since you have not seen this film before...
Surprise!
Yeah, totally shocked, right? I thought it'd be a good idea for me to send you what the plot is, because this movie's a little bit off the wall. I'm going to send you what the plot is, and I want you to read it back, and we're going to assess your response as you go through these plot points. I just sent it through chat, so go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, you did.
Off the wall. Amazing.
Oh, wow. A wisecracking trucker goes to the airport to pick up his friend's green-eyed fiancée, only to witness her being kidnapped by a Chinese street gang. Wow.
Yep.
They soon discover this gang is working for an evil sorcerer deep in the underworld of Chinatown, who must marry a girl with green eyes to regain his physical form. Humanity's only hope is for the trucker and his friend to defeat the sorcerer, a monkey-like monster, and his three invincible guards with epic hats.
Yep. Finish it.
It looks like there's about to be big trouble in Little China.
That's right.
I think the first thing my mind already did was like epic hats and thinking of that video where everybody's hitting each other over their hats.
Don
you know
Hertzfeldt?
what I'm talking about. Yes, that thing.
Oh, these are much more epic than those hats.
This should be very interesting.
So having read that, how are you feeling going into this?
Worried.
I mean,
concerned.
That's one description.
This should be a very interesting movie.
Oh, yeah. John Carpenter described this movie as being what he called an action-adventure comedy, kung fu, ghost story, monster movie.
Pretty much nails it.
And I think that plot that you read covers everything.
I should be really looking forward to what I'm going to witness here.
Oh, it's going to be epic. It is going to be epic. So let's go around the virtual table. We'll tell everybody what we're most looking forward to in this movie and how long it's been since you last watched Big Trouble in Little China. Dan, since you're back with us since you're back with us this episode, you're still alive. Why don't you go first? What are you looking forward to the most, and how long has it been since you watched this movie?
Well, before today, probably well over 15 years ago, maybe. It's been a while. I'm not like Poetry and watch it every day, twice a day.
Just on holidays.
Right.
Yeah, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's been a while.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Just the entire movie, man.
The whole thing?
Frankly, Jack Burton and all of his sayings, I remember him being all this tough guy, but he's actually afraid of damn near everything. And he lets his I just watched it, I forgot the names already. But he let his friend basically do all the fighting for him. And I don't know. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Jack Burton, all the way. Pork
Absolutely.
Chop Express, baby.
I mean, how about you, Chris? What are you looking forward to, and how long has it been?
I'm trying to think. The last time I saw this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. What I'm looking forward to, I think, the most is like the comedy and stuff, just like pretty much what Dan said. The quips, the one-liners, the amount of 80s that are just packed into this movie is just amazing.
Oh yeah, there's so much to unravel in this breakdown.
Like I'm more excited, not so much to watch the movie, but to see Dana's reaction on this. I know what I'm getting into, and I'm like, I can't wait. So much 80s, just cram-packed into this movie. It's so much fun, and it is just so off the wall. It's not even, it's just, yeah.
You guys have talked this up so much that I really want to know what I'm getting myself into.
One of the best cult classic movies out there, Dana. You will enjoy it.
I probably will.
Yeah, when we were first talking about the idea of making a podcast out of the stuff that we talk about all the time anyway, I think Big Trouble Little China was top 10 on our list of movies that we first came up with.
Top 5, I think.
I mean, it was right away. It was, there was no delay in that at all. For me, what I'm looking forward to is seeing this with a new perspective, because it has been at least 25 years since I've seen this movie. I saw it when I was a kid, and at the time I saw it, I didn't understand anything. I probably still won't, but I didn't get a lot of the humor. To me, I didn't like it that much. I remember a couple of the characters and some of the visuals, but it did nothing for me as a 8-year-old or whatever it was. So I'm looking forward to seeing this and looking back at the epic action films of the 80s. Everybody that I've talked to about this movie in preparation for this episode's kind of got me amped up and pumped. It brought up a lot of great points about this movie, so it's going to be a fun ride. I'm going to sit here and study Dana as she watches this film and make sure to make notes on some of the things to definitely bring up, because there's a lot.
I feel like pressure is on me on this one.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Definitely.
I'm so sorry.
This is fantastic doing this with someone who's never seen any movies whatsoever in her life.
No, that's not true. She's seen Inception.
Oh, I'm sorry. Inception. She saw that. My bad.
And I
That's
think
true.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That was more Tim.
Yeah, I made it.
Trust me.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
We know.
I mean,
We've known him for 20 years. I'm pretty sure he was all about it since it came out, like in the 90s.
Yeah. Saw it in the movie theaters.
Objects so peculiar, they are not to be believed. All around, things to tantalize my brain.
If
I will
Chris
keep
was
going.
right next to you, you would
Please,
have got
Ted.
hit.
Please do it. It's awesome.
Oh, we'll keep going. All right. So back on topic. So Dan, you nailed it. This movie is probably the definition of a cult classic. By many, it was considered a commercial and critical failure across the board. The budget, including marketing, was about $25 million, and in a box office, it made $11 million. So it was a big time flop, and there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about after we see it. But this is a very good example of the studio getting in the way of the director and the writers. They tried to rush it out for many reasons. So a couple other movies coming out, and it was a disaster. I mean, I think even the critics they were like, it's okay. But the fans, those are the people that have made this movie what it is today. And the reason why Chris and Dan are so obsessed with this movie, because it does have that staying power. It's just an epic movie that, really, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time, it's very smart. John Carpenter is a genius in many ways, and he really made a really good film out of what could have been a total disaster, even though production company didn't get a return on their investment at the box office. It definitely had everything it needed to have that staying power.
Think about the synopsis of this movie. It's so off the rails, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to make this into a film. And it's in the 80s. I mean, I'm sure it was kind of like, what is this? You're fighting against, what was it, 1986? So Raiders has already come out,
Rambo.
All these other movies, these big monster hits and stuff. And then you got this, and it's like, there's techno lights and fog and lightning bolts and monkey monsters. And
He was a sewer monster. How dare you?
Epic hats.
Epic hats.
Epic hats. I don't know. To me, it's fantastic. I think Kurt Russell really helps carry it with his humor.
Oh, for sure.
I have a hard time seeing anybody else during that time period playing this role. I'm sure there's a couple candidates, but I think in '86 I could definitely see this being this is written, Kurt Russell. Yep, let's do it.
You wouldn't believe that the movie was a big failure when I was trying to see what the user ratings were, not the critics, ignore the critics. But on IMDb, this movie is a 7.3 out of 10, which is high. And then on Rotten Tomatoes for user reviews, it's an 82%. So it's right up there with, I don't know, it's just no one got it. The marketing didn't know how to market it.
Right. Well, it's one of those movies where it's like it's not going to be critically acclaimed. We all know that. It's not a dig to this movie. It's just fun. That's the only way I can describe it. It's fun. It's silly, fun action movies, where there's so many films that try to take themselves so seriously or, try to be so deep and all that other BS. It's nice to have a movie where it's like you throw this in. It's an hour and 40 minutes of just popcorn fluff that's hilarious. And when you're done, you're like, oh, had a little bit of action, a little bit of comedy. It was funny. There's, action comedies is a genre. It's like, or, subgenre, whatever you want to call it, But to me, this one really just kind of stands out above a lot of the other ones just because of how fun it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I'm not going to lie. The review that you, Chris, and Dan have had about this has made me actually want to watch it, which is saying a lot, honestly.
Question is, do you guys think this would have been better? Because I read today that John Carpenter wanted to do it in like Western type situation, where instead of a truck, he's lost his horse and all this other stuff is happening. And
the original script was written like that in like 18 something, and then the production company or studio was like, nah, let's make it a little bit more modernized, and rewrite after fight. A lot of things pivoted and shifted. So I don't know if it would.
I think it would. I mean, you think about it, like after all the rewrites, I mean, there is some things in here where it makes you kind of go like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
and I could see
you wanted to keep like a Western feel to it.
Well, yeah, and he kind of has that in a way, like with certain, things, like you get that vibe. But I do think like there's some things that feel out of place in this movie, and I think maybe they would have been a little bit more better suited in a Western. I don't know, but I could see John Carpenter pulling that off. I mean, me in a Western kind of 80s style, you substitute, truck for horse, and all the different bar scenes and stuff to like a saloon style kind of thing. I think it's doable.
It'd be interesting. I know that.
Yeah, it would.
So maybe if they do make that sequel or prequel or whatever they're talking about, they could go a little bit Western. Damn, Dan.
What's that?
You got a text.
Dan got a text.
No, HQ's letting me know it's about to start.
Okay.
Oh.
10 minutes away.
It's very professional. So one of the shout outs I wanted to call up was from our old friend Anthony St. Dennis, who we went to high school with. He wanted to give a shout out to two of the staff members from our old high school that had recently passed away. Mr. Miller in 2019 and Sister Fran most recently battling COVID-19. And Anthony said that they were inspiring people and put a lot of kids on the path to success, not only financially, but morally. And just wanted to give them a quick shout out and nod their way. And anybody that knew them or have been impacted by what they've brought to that school. So I think some people spent more time with them than others. Dan, getting in trouble with Mr. Miller?
Yeah, me and Mr. Miller were buddies. He almost expelled me.
Oh.
I'm not surprised. Probably deserved
Yeah,
it.
neither am I. That's what happens when you say the F word in church.
Oh, well, that will do it.
There you go. No, both of them were great.
If anyone else does want to give a shout out for themselves or anyone that they are friends with or their pets, definitely head to oswpodcast.com and you can get the shout out to our next episode. For our nostalgia, a lot of people had provided a lot of comments. So I'm going to read through these pretty quickly. I thought they brought some good information forward. Christopher Lee actually left an audio recording for us, and he had this to say.
Hello, my name is Christopher Lee. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you what Big Trouble in Little China means to me. Well, it's my favorite movie of all time. I saw it opening weekend 5 times at the theater in Charlotte, and as soon as it hit cable, recorded it over a 6-hour VHS tape so I could just watch it endlessly. I own it in every format. It's not an exaggeration to tell you I've probably seen it around 5,000 times. When I'm in my studio, I'll just put it on and just let it play the entire time I'm out there and just repeats, and I just watch it over and over and over. I know the movie front to back. It takes me back to that the beginning of my teenage years when I lived in movie theaters and just watched. We would pay for one movie and just watch movies all day long. And it takes me back to that time The very, very cool days of the 80s when all the good movies were out. And if there's any justice in the world, Carpenter and Russell will come back together one more time and make an old man Jack Burton movie, because that's what we need. So, yeah, in closing, just want to tell you again, it's my favorite movie of all time. It is the greatest thing ever put down on film. And everybody watch it tonight. Hell, I think there's probably the Blu-ray is probably in my player right now. So I think I'm going to go watch it right now. So thanks, guys.
And then we have Raymond Hernandez, who said, I've watched this movie so many times it never gets old. Jack Burton is probably the best sidekick who doesn't know he is a sidekick. Yet his reflexes and instincts keep him alive. We have many characters who owe their start to him. One of my favorites being Zap Brannigan from Futurama. I never saw that correlation before, but after he brought it up, I went, yep, 100%. That's a definite inspiration for sure. Next, we have Scott Latimer, who said, I'm a martial artist and named my thesis form The Pork Chop Express, which that is awesome, by the way. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I was very fortunate to see it in theaters 2 years ago, and it was the highlight of that year. Next, we have David Majewski. Said the year was 1989, and I was teaching at Indiana University Northwestern in Gary, Indiana. I think if you start any story off with, it was the year, that's pure nostalgia. So I think that's awesome that it causes him to have that kind of reflection. But anyway, he said, we had a huge blizzard that shut us down for 3 days. With the weekend added in, I was in my apartment in Crown Point, Indiana for 5 straight days with my cat, and not much to do except watch television. I happened upon a showing of Big Trouble in Little China quite by accident, and I didn't know much about the movie, but I love John Carpenter and really liked Kurt Russell from his work in The Thing and Escape from New York. I decided to watch it, and I think it played about 12 times in those 5 days, and I watched every single time. No matter what time it came on, I was watching it. I can safely say I've watched this movie well over 150 times since then, and it never gets old. When the floating demon head appears, all right, remember the floating demon head?
Oh, yeah.
When the floating demon head appears and Jack Burton shoots at it, my night is made. Such a tremendously underrated film. And finally, we have Peter Vistisen, who had this to say. He said, it is the best movie ever made, period. There is an indescribable absurdity to everything in it without it being cringe or a parody. I would argue it actually takes itself very serious, and that is the genius of it. Many call it a B movie, but it behaves more like a joyful piece of a big storytelling universe. It creates this wild world building with such great implied depth that few fantasies or sci-fi films have matched. Combined with the absurdity, the heart of the characters, the humor, and old Jack Burton, it just becomes so much more than the sum of its parts. So if that does not have you excited to watch this movie, Dana, I'm
terrified.
I don't know what to do. So we try to go back and share these nostalgia points that people share with us, because I think it's important that everyone has a chance to share something they love about a movie they're very passionate about. So any movie that we're going to do a review on, we do announce it ahead of time. So if you want to get involved and share your nostalgia for any of the films we've already done, or any of the films that we do announce in the coming future, just check us out on Facebook and Twitter. That's where we get all of our nostalgic information from the great fans of the films that we cover.
I want to watch The Thing now.
The Thing?
God, it's a good movie.
That is a good movie.
Not a John Carpenter, Kurt Russell combo.
They're just so good together, man. They just work so well with each other.
Do you know how many movies they've done together? I think it's 5. I don't have that in front of me, but
It's 4 or 5. I think you're right with 5, Tim.
now my favorite time. We're gonna play over under.
Oh boy.
And so Dan, you missed it last time.
Yeah, man. You should see my sweet score I got last time.
I heard the podcast you 0 out of 0.
Sweet.
He got 1 right at the end.
You pulled me, Chris. Oh, I forgot you did get 1 right.
Yeah, I got 1 at the end. There you go.
Dude, you should have went with what Nikki said, man.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't tell him until after, so it just happened to be total opposite, which was perfect. All right, so I got 4 questions here. Dan, since you're back in the game, I got Chris, Dana, and Spaz up against each other. Nikki won it last time, but since she was our guest, she gets the honorary title. Amongst our unruly mob, Dana is the current winner from her win in Inception. So let's see if Dana, who never saw this movie before, can hold on to that title.
It's 5, by the way, to interject. It's 5 movies they collaborated on.
Do you have the list?
Yep. It's The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, like we already talked about. And shame on me, I forgot, but Escape from New York, 1981. Then the not-so-hot sequel to that, Escape from L.A. in 96.
Oh.
And then a biography, Elvis.
Oh, that's right.
From 1979. It was a TV movie.
Oh,
Yeah, Shelley Winters is in it, Bing Russell, Robert Gray. But yeah, 5. Anyways, yep.
We'll probably watch at least one of those, right?
My
oh,
vote
for
be
sure. The Thing, for sure.
Or Escape from New York.
Yeah,
We can skip Escape from LA.
it wasn't that bad. It was entertaining. I was also 12 years old when I saw it, and I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I think there's a large list of bad movies that are on the do not watch list, like Jaws: The Revenge.
I have seen a lot of bad movies in my time.
I know. I hear about them. I get texts like every night. It's like, oh my god, don't watch this movie.
I made that mistake last weekend. Horror movies.
So back to over under. I have 4 questions for you guys, and I'm going to start with Spaz on each one of these. Welcome back. So the first
start with someone else.
No, it's you. It's all you.
Okay.
It's gotta be you.
The first question I'm going to ask is, how many questions does Jack Burton ask in this movie? And I have an over under of 50.5.
I'm going to say under.
Under 50.5. So let's go to Chris.
I no longer like this game.
No, you have to.
Let me see if I keep my streak of 0 to 0 again, even though I like this movie. I haven't seen it in quite a while. I'm going to say over.
Alrighty. Dana, what do you think? 50.5.
It seems like such an obscure question, so I'm going to go over as well.
Well, I'm wrong for the first one.
You don't know that.
You don't know. I've never seen this.
But I do. I'm going off what Chris says.
See, here's the thing. Dan just
He's
watched
smarter, and he has a better memory than me.
Dan, I don't remember what I did yesterday.
So question number 2, starting with Spaz again. So how many different weapons does Jack Burton use in this film? Not counting his fists.
Over under what?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was like waiting for it.
Over under 3.5.
Under.
Chris.
Under.
All right,
Over.
Dan, you're going over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question number 3. How many boobs or butts do we see in this movie? And I have 2.5. Now, to clarify, based on our earlier discussion in a previous episode, I don't care if it's a boob or boobs. If you see cleavage or if you see butt,
Whoa,
counts as one.
Whoa. Cleavage is completely different.
Yeah, I was going to say.
An actual backside.
There's no full-on boobage.
Right, like, I mean, now you're making the
All
water
right.
kind of murky, Tim.
No, all right. Let me back up a little bit.
Right. Oh my goodness.
On a person,
Well, I hope
is
it's the
there?
first.
You
The
don't
sewer
know
monster, Chris.
You don't know.
Yeah, what about this like monkey-like monster? And
That's a sewer monster.
Go get a baboon bottom.
Do you
See,
see
Tim, this is
any?
why you shouldn't ask this
But
question.
it's an important question.
It is, now that we have the clarity on it, so now we know it could be a single boob or butt cheek, but not cleavage, because that's a totally different thing.
Okay, not cleavage. Okay, I'm sorry. The definition of
should be
cleavage, I
sorry.
have not looked that up recently. I was unaware. So frontal or rear nudity is how much do you see in this movie? Over under 2.5.
There you go.
Under.
All right, let me be even clearer. Something that if you watch this on basic television, would they blur it or black bar it or cut it out entirely?
Like basic, like, I don't know, would it be like USA after 10 p.m.? Because I think it allows some butt shots. I'm kidding. Spaz already said under. It's under.
TNT at 3 p.m.
TNT at 3 p.m. They're doing reruns of King of Queens, man. What are you talking about?
All right, Dan says under.
I say under.
under?
Fine.
Tim's upset.
Question number 4. To bring us to the end. Do you hear the F-bomb? Yes or no?
Ooh.
No.
Spaz has a questionable no.
No?
I'm
Another
gonna say,
questionable no.
I'm going to go with no. It's more of a solid no now. Yeah, no.
Solid no.
I'm gonna say yes because we'll be watching this with closed captions, so we'll know.
We will know.
My only argument, and I'm probably going to be wrong on this, is it was 1986 and it's PG-13, and I know there is, depending on when it was like a rule or something like that, but you can get away with one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie, I think, depending on the context and stuff. But I don't know when that was kind of like implemented.
It's hard to say.
I mean, we had the big conversation about when did PG-13 really evolve. I mean, it was all right around when Jaws came out, if I remember, like we talked about.
Well, I think this was Red Dawn was when the first
Right.
PG-13, and that was
1984.
Yeah, so it was not that far behind this movie, so they were still
Right.
trying to figure things out.
Exactly. So I feel it's hard because I feel back then an F-bomb would have gotten
I think the
a
whole
hard rating.
F-bomb thing started in the 90s, PG-13.
I feel like it did too.
Yeah. I feel like they were a little bit more stricter back in the 80s regarding language. I could be totally wrong.
We'll find out.
I mean, I was like 1 when this movie came out. So
That's another thing I have to look up. I was like, when was the first F-bomb in a PG-13 movie? When I'm bored. And Chris is doing that right now. All right. So we have our scores for over-under. We're going to take a look at the film, and I'm going to try to keep track of all this stuff because I don't have the answers, really. Not a lot of people wasting their time like I would counting up these different things. So I'll do
It is
my
a very
best.
Tim thing to do.
Isn't it? So we have all that wrapped up. The last thing for us to do is our own nostalgia score. So Dana, you learned a lot about this movie in a quick half hour. What are you going to rate this out of 10?
So, because of what my rating was before we all talked, I'm just going to go with that one, expecting that this is going to go up. That is a high expectation, you guys. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because before this, really didn't know too much about it, obviously, after reading that. 4 out of 10, and I'm expecting it to definitely go up, though.
What about you, Spaz?
7.
7. All
Yep.
right.
That's pretty good.
So Dana has a 4. Spaz has a 7. Chris, where do you rate this epic movie of yours?
I give this movie 7 also.
Copier.
I need some wiggle room because I have a feeling it's going to go up after I watch it again. So
Trust me, it's going to go up.
You're right. If I already slap an 8 on it, it's going to be real awkward afterwards being like, it's an 8. It's like, all right, I'm going to have a little bit of leeway into this, so I can say it goes up better.
I forgot how well the actor who plays Lopan, he's good in this movie, dude.
So I'm going to come in, and so my rating changed on a couple factors. So it started out on what I remembered when I was a kid. And I already told you I didn't think much of it when I saw it when I was 8 or 9 or however old I was. So I was going to come in with a 3. But in the meantime, while learning about this film, talking to a lot of people, talking to Gerald Okamura, they all kind of impacted my rating a little bit because they were reminding me of things that were in this film that I forgot about, saw some visuals that brought back some memories, and I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm based on the passion people have for this film and it being the cult classic that it is. I know that I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be a fun ride. So I'm going to come in with a 6 based purely on what I can remember and the energy people give off when talking about this movie. It's kind of impacted my own nostalgia or memory of this film. So I'm going to throw it out there as a 6. I'm hoping to watch it and move it up that list. But it's, like I said, it's been 25 something years since I've seen it. So it's going to be like a whole fresh new experience for me. So we'll see what happens.
3?
Man, I didn't like it when I was a kid.
I don't like your face right now.
You're a loser.
I'm going to social distance you right out of this podcast.
Oh, I wish I didn't even know you.
Yeah, kind of wish I could slap you through the camera.
Right? That's like something I'd give like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I would. Chris, you suck so much ass.
I can't understand anything that you say, Spaz, because your phone's notifications are going off half the time you're talking.
Sorry, the NFL draft is this week. I'm getting updates.
This is the worst.
Oh, I hate half of this podcast right now.
I hate you, boner.
It's even better that his camera's not even on. No one's obviously saying this. I mean, we're all doing it remotely. But the fact that Spaz is doing it off of his phone with no camera makes it 10 times better.
I can put the camera back on, but it's just going to be my forehead again.
You're doing us a favor. Just keep it off.
I don't want to see you. I really don't.
I don't either. Ever. Again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't want to see myself in the mirror, but I have to.
Look at the man in the mirror.
Not again. We talked about this last time. So there we are. So our average score right now is a 6 out of 10. With Dana never seeing it before, me, I don't know, whatever.
It's almost like you've never seen it before. It's been 20-something years. So
yeah, I have almost no recollection of it, but the energy is palpable. Everyone's been gushing about this movie and can't wait to dive into it again. A couple of people I even talked to after talking to them about it, they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go turn it on right now because you got me thinking, and I gotta go see it." So it's got that kind of power. So I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm gonna be watching Dana. I'm gonna be taking notes to see how she responds and how many what the hell I get out of her.
Oh, it's going to be a lot. See, Tim, that should be an over-under right there. How many times is Dana going to say, what the hell? Over-under 20 times. Over.
I'll tell you what.
Movie, yeah.
I will
Okay.
keep track, and I'll let you know. Or
I'm
some
interested to
variation
hear
of
what
that.
I do too.
All right.
But will it be as many as Tiger King, though?
I think it will be, because this is jam-packed into a very small window, and it's just like bam, bam, bam of all this weird stuff.
Yes.
I mean, you read the plot. I mean, it's kind of...
Yeah.
Didn't you say what the hell during reading the plot?
I may have whispered it. I was thinking it the entire time.
This is going to be exciting. All
It's
right.
going to be good.
It
So-
just sucks that we can't see Dana's expressions while
I
watching the
know.
movie. Tim, you got to record
Social
her.
distance.
No, I don't think she's going to want me to record her for 2 hours straight right on her face, but
It's only an hour and a half. It's fine.
I'll take some pictures. All right, so here we are. Average score of 6. This is like 2 parts of Dana. Like, this is pre Big Trouble in Little China and post. This is a landmark moment for her.
I can't think of a movie that we've already seen or plan on seeing for this podcast that's going to have her just going, what? More than
I don't think
See,
so.
that's why I'm looking forward to this, though. I feel like this is going to be a very odd yet enjoyable experience.
The 80s are just chock full of movies like this, in my opinion. They're just
Right.
like off the wall, just like, what did I watch and can I watch it again?
Yep.
So at this point, we'll shut down and we'll reconvene next week and talk about what we saw. But in the meantime, I'll play the interview I had with the man of many weapons, learn a little bit about his backstory and
A golden 6-shooter.
Golden 6-shooter. Yeah, he's super appreciative. It's going to be a fun listen to, so definitely stay tuned for that. First off, I wanted to thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time. I had no idea you were part of these Facebook groups, and I was very happy to see how active you were. It was really amazing to see how engaged you are with the fans.
The thing is, it's really the fans that keeps us in the limelight, so to speak, right?
That's true.
I mean, without them, it seems like you're a forgotten character or movie. So I have a lot of respect for the fans and for people like you that keep the Big Trouble Little China fan club or whatever you want to, this podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
People like you just kind of keeps it alive. So yes, it's for me to say thank you to you and the fans out there. By all means, yes.
When we first started discussing this podcast or to do something like this with a group of my friends, one of the first movies that one of my co-hosts brought up was Big Trouble in Little China. It's something that has meant a lot to him over the years and something that I personally haven't seen since I was a kid. But there were 2 things that I did remember. Every time I think about Big Trouble in Little China, the 3 Storms characters, and also the guy with the golden guns. I didn't know who you were at the time, but it's just anytime I think of that movie, you're the first person that pops in my head. So you definitely have a long-lasting persona in this movie. I think definitely resonates with the fans. Some of the posters, you're even on the poster yourself, even though you're not a named character. You're one of the Hatchet Men, but for sure you have a lasting impression on everybody.
That's really nice of you and the rest of the people to just kind of keep the character alive. Like I keep repeating myself, all these years, 30 plus years, I mean, character that John Carpenter created for me in this movie, unbeknownst at that time that it was going to live, 30 plus years. But it's only thanks to people like you and the fans that kind of keeps it alive. So by all means, yes, thank you very much.
Oh, I mean, the pleasure's all mine for sure. I did want to say that your social media presence was something to be admired. I mean, you're extremely engaged and active. You're very generous. When I made the call out that we were going to review this movie, I think you shared our link all over the place. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much for doing that. I just want to try to engage as many people as possible. So how important is it for you to connect with your fans on social media?
It's very important, not only for me, and this goes back years and years with other characters in the movie. It's the fans that kind of put you there. If your TV series wants to be successful, it's the fans that have to watch and put you up there, So as far as the importance, I try to sort of pay back to the fans on social media. The best I can do is just to express myself and my thank you. It seems like it's a lot of fun with social media. Facebook with fans having pluses and minuses as far as if they like you or don't like you, or is there another character. So, yeah, by all means, the fans are very, very important, and I think it's not just me speaking. I think it's most of the actors as well as the producers of a movie.
I had read in a statement that you made, kind of speaking about working with other martial artists and the camaraderie amongst all of you. You know, I think there's a lot of stunt actors, some minor, some major roles that everyone, you know, has a part in, but you guys connect really well in tournaments and things like that. So how important is that community, and how has it impacted your life?
I really started fairly late. I figure my first movie project was in 76 with Kung Fu, the TV series. And at that time, a lot of my friends were already in it. And so it's just one of those things, being associated with martial arts and martial artists, that gave me an opportunity to be part of this super ride, this journey. But again, with talking about martial artists, I respect all the different arts. It has pluses and minuses, and it goes true for martial artists themselves. I don't express much. I have my own opinions, you know, when it comes to the martial arts. But as far as friendship goes, I mean, it's one of those things I think we all would like to kind of do our acting. And when I say that, it's like most of us cannot live out a perfect life as a martial artist, I think. Some of them do, depending on their lifestyle. The martial art for me, way back even when I was like 12, being kind of picked on in Hawaii, the martial arts has played a very big role for me as far as getting me sort of prepared for life ahead, the realities of life. You know, when I say that, it's like, yes, you want to be a ninja, but I don't think I'm going to wear a black outfit, cover my head, and walk around. You know, today, when you figure the modern ninja can be in a T-shirt and jeans, you know, that kind of comparison. As far as sharing a lot of this information with different martial artists, you know, some of them I've gone socially, you know, with them. Some of them I go to tournaments with them. And there's others that I just kind of respect. The name, the face, you see them on. In fact, on one of my interviews, when somebody asked me about El Leon, my first impression of El Leon was that I've seen him on magazine covers, I've seen him at tournaments, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, Ed Parker's International Karate Tournament in Long Beach, California. Probably was the first time I actually had the nerve to go up and then introduce myself to El Leon. So it's that kind of respect, I guess, I have for martial artists and different martial arts, you know.
I can imagine. Just you're part of a special group, I think. And you mentioned when you were at a younger age, and you know may have been picked on. And it's not like you turn to martial arts as strictly I'm going to defend myself, but it's how you build your own self-confidence in knowing more about you, the environment around you, and to help build yourself up as a person. So I think, you know, as you've kind of grown in your career and especially met a lot of different people, I think everyone kind of came from a similar place of trying to go through self-discovery and be, you know, confident in the things that they do. So I think it's great that you still have some of these connections and you can meet up again in tournaments. There's probably a lot of people that you don't see or talk to very often, but when everyone comes together for a convention or a tournament, I think it might bring back a lot of different memories.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, I used to have a thing called the Dragon Fest. This goes back a ways. I've had for like 9 years. And it was one of those conventions that martial artists, martial arts celebrities started out like James Liu attended everything. But that event for me, one day a year, used to be more of a reunion, you know, meeting all the old friends as well as making new friends. So, yes, I try to keep in touch as much as I can. I don't see them often. And so this social media, I think, is nice where we kind of poke fun at each other at the same time, realizing that, you know, we should keep that humor among us, you know. So, but I do respect all the martial artists and their systems. So, you know, it's a fun deal, you know.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you got into acting a little bit later in your life. And was this something you always wanted to do?
It never dawned on me. And the thing is, I wasn't really aware of the protocol in the industry. So, you know, when my instructor was called to participate in Kung Fu, he declined, and he, out of the blues, he says, "Hey, Gerald, I got this call to participate in Kung Fu TV series," and I said, "I don't want it. I want you to go in my place." Naturally, the opportunity was there, and like I said, I didn't know really the protocol, and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll go." It ended up well, because that was my first gig. But the good thing about that incident or event, when I got there, not knowing, again, the right and the wrong, the technical advisor was David Chow. And I introduced myself, and I said, you know, I'm here in place of Jim H. Woo, not knowing that I can do that without any announcement that I was going to be a replacement. Lucky enough, David Chow knew me through the martial arts, and he said it was okay for me to stay and be a replacement. But that was my first gig.
Very nice. And do you think that Hollywood overall represents the martial arts well in movies and TV? I see a lot of kind of glossing over the of what it could truly be about. They focus on what the perception of what a ninja is, and very rarely do they get into more of the heart of martial arts. So do you think it's represented well in TV in general, or do you think it could do a little bit better?
It depends on when we're talking about this one thing, right? When I first started out, there wasn't many people in SAG that had credentials as being a martial artist. And I'm referring to a movie right after doing Kung Fu. I did a movie called Killer Elite with James Caan. And at that time, I didn't have a SAG card, but then it was one of those where the guild didn't have a lot of martial artists. So again, it's just one of those things where a lot of us had an opportunity to get our card. I got mine with a letter from Sam Peckinpah stating that he needed me in this project, and then going down to SAG office and applying for my SAG card. But getting back to this, is it represented well? Again, it depends on the coordinator. It depends on the project. Not to make a long story, drag it out, but again, it's the technology in the industry. When I first started out, everything was right there in front of you. You had to take the hit, you had to do your flips, and, we didn't have wire, things like that. So as far as I'm concerned, it depends on the project itself, the way it's written, and what they wanted to express. Because I think in the beginning, I've always heard the thing, if you call it a martial art movie, you never can sell it. But if you call it an action movie, you have a better chance of selling it. So again, when I first started out, it's just one of those things where you didn't hear too much. For us in martial art, we always heard it's a martial art movie, but I think the industry just kind of moved it around and said this is an action-packed movie with a lot of fights and stuff, and the fights would be around the martial art.
Okay.
Today, if you go into the SAG log, and you find that just about everybody, male and female, have a credential saying that they are a martial artist. Take it from there, and then you kind of go by the script as far as who you want to represent that scene or whatever.
Okay, interesting. So getting on the topic of Big Trouble in Little China, were you at all surprised when you had arrived on set and they were kind of placing everybody to either what their weapon might be, their costume, and I think you were handpicked to be the golden six-shooter?
No.
No?
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you how it went. I heard about a casting call, open casting call for martial artists to participate in this movie, and the audition was for John Carpenter. I brought along a student to kind of be a partner to show my skills, as well as I took a bunch of some weapons that I designed and made. So my audition was to throw around this student of mine just to show my martial arts skills. And then later on, I started talking to John Carpenter about this is the things that I have. Maybe you can use it kind of deal. And, you know, they don't usually tell you if you got the job or not at the audition. Well, for me, that night, I got a call again from a coordinator, and it says, hey, we want to use you in this project. So I need for you, the next day, I need for you to report to 20th Century Fox, report to the prop shop. And so I did. And I walk in and I introduce myself. I says, I'm Gerald Okamura. I'm here. I was supposed to report. He goes, oh, good, okay. And this guy comes out with 2 gold-plated pearl handle 6-shooters. And he says, this is your weapon for the project. You know, I was kind of surprised, to say the least, to showing all my skills with weapons and self-defense. And it says, okay, this is your weapon for the project. This is your character. So, okay, that's fine with me, you know, if that's what you want. And then as I was getting ready to leave, they goes, oh, wait, by the way, for your character, John wants you to have this bandolero. And I said, yeah, okay. And so they bring this out, and, I look at it, and if you're familiar with the movie, and I'm surprised a lot of people in the beginning never caught on to the whole jest to those things, to the bandoleros, because the bullets was like it'll fit in an elephant gun, right? Elephant rifle, right? And so this guy says, yes, John wants you to have this. And yes, we are well aware that the bullets don't fit in your 6-shooter, but that is part of your wardrobe. And that's how it went.
Oh, that's funny. When I was doing some research for this movie, I was reading about the original screenplay and the fact that they had originally visioned this movie being kind of an old Western. This might be a callback to that original idea. I think you kind of represented that vision very well as your character.
Well, like I said, it was something unbeknownst to me. Later, I heard the same story about the script was supposed to be a Western. So maybe John picked out one guy and I was the guy. And I was supposed to sing to a cowboy, I guess.
Hey, it was a great look for you. It was a very memorable character, like I was saying. So I think it all worked out pretty well.
Oh, I'm really pleased how everything is turning out 30 years later. 30 years plus, but we are 34 years maybe, and the character is still alive. And the fun part to this character is that there's other people out there that do, what's the word, characterize, or what they
the cosplay, where they dress up as characters?
Cosplay is one, well, that's alive, but this guy sketches like a cartoon figure, and let me see, maybe about 3 years ago, this one well-known artist that does sofubi. I never knew what that was, little miniature figurines. All right, so this guy, Mark Nagata, is supposed to be one of the top sofubi artists. We kind of got together, and I persuaded him to kind of do a character of me in the sofubi form. And again, like I said, I never knew what sofubi was, but, for maybe your fans out there, it's almost like a Cupid doll. It's a full plastic figurine, and that has gone pretty far for something like that. The laugh to all of this between Mark Nagata and I is that his figurines are all monsters and stuff, and now he has a live person as one of his sofubi characters, So I'm very honored that he decided to participate,
Yeah, and I think those are available on your website?
Yeah, and I got it on my website. Plus, I had this other thing I've been fooling around with 6-7 years maybe, and it's called sticker sighting. I have people that make up a whole lot of stickers. And what it is you take the sticker and then you take a picture and then you hashtag sticker sightings. But it's a thing where we kind of have fun. I have pictures in Japan, Puerto Rico,
Okay, yeah.
UK, that kind of deal. It's just a fun deal, Hey,
yeah.
You take a picture and some of them like to put captions on it. So it's a fun ride.
So we have to get your face on every country on this planet. Is that the goal?
Well, the thing is, like I said, Tim, I enjoy interfacing with the fans, the people out there, whether you're fans or not. But if they participate, it's almost like join the fun.
Yeah.
And even with all my posting, and I with coronavirus thing, staying at home, I've been posting a lot of little clips on Facebook, different action shots, and getting the people involved, good comments, bad comments, positive, negative comments, just for fun, right?
Yeah. The last question I was curious about was, were you able to take those golden 6-shooters home with you, or did the prop shop take it back?
No, that really wasn't from the prop shop. The prop shop made an arrangement with somebody. It's a personal gun for somebody. I don't know who it is, but they were renting it. I've heard different quotes from different people, even when I was shooting the project, like $1,200 to $1,800 a day rental. Wow. Yeah, and I was on the set for like maybe 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. But it's not my gun, and it does shoot real bullets. It's still a gun. It's naturally we have to use blanks, but yeah, I don't have it. With all my marketing, merchandise marketing, I've kind of played around with a plastic gold gun. Just for marketing, merchandising, that kind of deal.
That's cool. Yeah, I follow a lot of people that build replica weapons and costumes from movies and TV shows, and I was always thinking, man, I'm sure somebody out there has either made replica versions of those guns or would be very interested in it. So I'll do some snooping around, and if I see anything, I'll send you a message so you can check out some of the work that someone else has done.
All right.
Do you have any favorite scenes from the movie that you want anyone to know about?
We had like about 70 or 80 martial arts background people, along with what they would consider like 17 martial arts stunt people. Here's the story that I want to share with you. I had friends that got selected to do background martial artists, and these are all good friends. The background people couldn't drive onto the 20th century lot, and, that's where there's a gate and there's a guard and all that. Anyway, for us stunt people, we could drive onto the lot. The background people had to park like maybe 5 blocks away at some kind of area that can accommodate like 70, 80 cars, and they would be shuttled to 20th Century Fox.
Okay.
Well, my good friend, I say Sensei Richard Rabago, Sensei Ernie Santiago, Sensei Terry Sabura were doing the background, and I offered for them to ride with me, and so they got to ride into the lot and didn't have to go to where all the background people. And then on top of all of that, instead of going to the area where the background people are supposed to meet, we all went to my trailer. I talk like I'm big deal, but I'm not that big of a deal. I did have a trailer. We would all go to my trailer, and that's where we hung out.
Yeah.
And then the other thing on top of this story is that the first day we all went to the commissary because we were on a studio lot, and naturally, the food is expensive at that grade.
Yeah.
So what we decided was, okay, tomorrow what we're gonna do is each of us is gonna do potluck, and all these guys are all from Hawaii, just like me, right?
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to do that. We also included other people. We started out small. For about the end of the first week, we must have had like about 40 guys eating with us.
Oh, that's great.
It was just potluck. I mean,
right.
One of the guys was even bringing in this electric skillet that was making
oh my gosh,
adobo. Another day he'd be making sukiyaki. That kind of deal. And that was the fun part to this project. I mean, if you talk about one of the things that I enjoyed on this project, man, it has to be lunchtime.
There you go. Oh, that's great. It's, those little things, they catch on. People definitely want to be a part of it. I think you definitely have this aura about you that people just want to be around you too and have you a part of things. So I think that plays a part of it too.
Well, the thing is, like I said, Tim, when I first started out, I was really brand new. I really held back a lot of time, not as vocal as later on in my career,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stood back not knowing what was right and what was wrong. I still enjoy, like if I'm on a project, I've kind of retired But going on different projects, meeting the big stars, like one of them was Peter Ustinov, that kind of deal. And then Chuck Norris would be another one on Octagon, these are the people I kind of looked up to as a martial artist. And when they got into films, it was like, wow, it was, I'm very happy for them and that kind of deal. But I seen these guys on magazine covers, like I said,
Right.
So when I go on the set and I meet these people for the first time, it was a big joy for me. I really enjoyed stuff like that.
I'm very happy for you in the career that you've had. I swear, I've recognized your face my entire life. I'm really bad with names, but when I started diving into this movie, I saw your name pop up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen him in literally all my favorite movies that I watched as a kid. Even if you had a quick little flash of your face or something, like I think there's a scene in Mortal Kombat, favorite movie of mine when I was a kid, when you had that fight scene against Liu Kang. So it's just like, I think you have that epic facial hair too. It's like your trademark signature, so you're very recognizable. You see all these different films that you've been a part of. When I took a little bit of a dive into Big Trouble in Little China, I was like, yeah, I'm hoping to get a chance to talk to you, so I'm really glad that you were involved in social media and we were able to put this together.
Like I said, I try to reach out. And in fact, I don't know if I started this little thing about which side you want to be, a Wing Kong or a Chang Sing, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun when people, like for me, I always make mention about you got to be a Wing Kong warrior,
Mm-hmm.
Forget those Chang Sings, that kind of deal. And I go back with James Liu and, some of those other guys. We kind of kid about it. But I think it's all for the fun of it. So I'm glad that you started this. I'm glad you're on Facebook getting other people involved in it. And it's people like you and, like I said, the fans, I thank all of you for keeping the movie alive, keeping my character alive. I'm very grateful.
It was an honor to talk to you. I wish you the best of health, especially with this virus, and stay safe, stay healthy. I know you said you're semi-retired, but I don't know, maybe hopefully we'll see you in some future projects, or, as I reminisce and go through some more nostalgic movies, I'll be like, oh, there's Gerald.
Hey, anytime. Just give me a buzz, okay?
Will do. I'll reach you out on social media again.
Anytime, Dave. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. So we're back from our viewing of Big Trouble in Little China. A lot of mixed emotions, a lot of fun. I think I had the most fun actually watching this movie with Dana, because I did keep track of, amongst all the other things I was keeping track of, I kept track of how many times she verbally said, "What the f***?"
What the hell?
And I counted 13.
Oh man, I had under. I mean over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There was 13 audible. What the f***? Before I get into over under, I really wanted to do our nostalgia review because I think that's important to touch on right now. Actually, you know what? No, because that's going to get off the rails.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I don't want to touch anything right now.
Yes, you do.
I've already done that enough today.
Were you watching the right Big Trouble in Little China?
I don't know, man.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Let's okay. So let's go to over under. To start, the first question was, how many questions does Jack Burton ask in this movie? And I set the over under at 50.5. Chris and Dana said over. Spaz said under, and it was actually well over 50.5. I'm not going to tell you how much because I'm going to use this question as a tiebreaker if I need to. So
I'm starting off right.
You're starting out right where I expected you, Spaz.
My place is set. Ed's last place again.
So
you can go for 0 like me.
That's what I'm probably going to get.
That takes a lot of effort.
Well, not for me, doesn't it? It comes quite easy to me.
We'll see what happens. So question number 2 was, how many different weapons does Jack Burton use? And I set it at 3.5. Now I need to get some clarification and a thumbs up, thumbs down from you guys. What constitutes a weapon?
A gun, a knife.
That's it? No other?
Or like, I don't know, like a bar that you can use to beat somebody with.
And does he have to actually use it or just hold it?
Oh, he's got to use it, my friend.
Okay. Under that stipulation, then it is under 3.5.
Damn right.
And that's
the gun and the knife, baby.
Chris. Well, so the reason why I asked is because he literally knocked 2 guys out or made them fly 10 feet in the air with a wheelchair.
Wheelchair, yeah.
Doesn't count.
No. He just
It was also inadvertently done.
Yeah.
Right.
He was
limp biscuing real hard. He was rolling.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. There's your 2002 flashback.
Thank you for
whenever.
He also punched the storm. He used his fists.
Yeah, that's not a weapon. That's a fist.
He had. Fists can be weapons.
How dare you? He doesn't know kung fu or karate. Yes, I said karate.
So there's a lot of he threw someone a shotgun. He held a handgun for like less than a second. But
I feel like it has to be he used them.
All right, so I'm going to give Chris and Dan.
I got to give one. Don't fight me on this, Tim.
So Dan has 1. Chris has 2. Dana has 1. All right, this third question. How many butts or boobs? No, it was under. I did read that they had 1 frame from when they were running out of the brothel or whatever.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really count. So you guys all hit under. So, right, Chris, you're 3 for 3, man.
Stupid.
Sweet.
Dana has 2, and Spaz has 2. So we're coming down to the final question here. This could be an interesting one.
Oh, man.
Last question. Do we hear the F word?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
What?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Was that at the end of the movie?
It's near the end. I think it's right by the elevator.
There's the that painting that was hanging up.
Painting. He cuts it. He says, "F it," and he cuts it with his knife.
So Chris and Dan both said no, and Dana said yes. So we have a tie between Chris, who fanboys hard over this movie, and Dana, who never saw this movie before. 3 out of 4.
Like usual.
Before we find out the final answer, I just want to know I hate everyone here.
We hate you too.
I mean, but why?
Because if this goes sideways, I feel that I'm okay with hating everybody. And if it doesn't,
So going back to question 1, how many questions does Jack Burton ask? And Chris and Dana both said over 50.5. So I'm going to ask again, is it over under 75.5?
Gotta have a hook, right, Tim?
Always have a hook.
I always want to know what half a question is. It's like, hey, I gotta, and is that it? Like he's halfway there.
Get slapped in the face before he can ask it.
Right.
I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna go over.
Chris wins.
Oh man.
Good
How many questions did he ask?
You should win.
So Jack asked a total of 117 questions to this movie.
Most of his dialogue is just questions.
All right. What the hell is that? Don't tell me. Just like, what's going on? Who's this guy? What's going on? Yeah, it was nonstop the whole time. I honestly don't think he had a script. He was literally just going through this movie like, wait, what's happening? Who's this guy now?
That would be accurate.
I really wish I would have finished that 39 minutes I have left in the movie.
And afterwards, you can review how time works and when we have a set time.
Sorry, the NFL draft is more important. How dare you?
Let's talk about this for a minute. All right. We've done a number of these episodes now.
Yeah,
and
this is the first time I had to do it.
Listen,
this is like homework for me.
You had a week.
All right.
Like homework for me. You know how I did with homework. I didn't do it, or I waited until the last second.
The concept's pretty simple.
Homework.
The first half, we talk about the movie without watching it. Then we watch it, and then we re-review it. Spaz, while we're recording the first half, is watching the movie. Then we meet a week later to do our post review, and he's watching the movie. He still hasn't finished the movie.
Pants on your head, stupid.
Not stupid. I had more important things to do.
You had a week.
Dude, I have to watch it right before we do this, or I'm going to forget everything.
I'm sorry,
My
have
brain
a
doesn't
short-term
work
memory
anymore.
problem.
My brain doesn't work anymore.
I still love you, Dan.
I never did.
Please, dude, best friends forever, BFFs.
You're like a
Love you.
giant buffoon.
Well, yeah, that's why you like me.
No.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel very sad right now.
Because Spaz didn't finish the movie. Me too. I'm sad too.
I'm not sad. I'm happy. I got to watch some semblance of sports today.
I know how much is getting edited out now.
There's quite a bit, but it's okay. I mean, I think Dana asked just about as many questions as Jack, or at least the look on her face was a constant. What?
It was the look on my face.
I'm not gonna lie. It's been a minute since I've watched it, and even I a couple times was like, "What?" Because I did not remember just how crazy 80s this was.
Yeah. So, and then the floating eyeball monster in the sewer.
That's me.
Dana verbally said, "What the what the
What the hell?"
It's just so out of place. Like, it's like, for the most part, I mean, I got it. There's sorcery and stuff, and we do have like the sewer monster. But like near the end, it was just like, surprise, we're gonna toss this guy in here just for S&Gs, and it's like, oh wow, like, okay, that's a thing.
Dude, he was like the video camera for Lopan, man. Show
I know.
Lopan moves up.
It felt like it belonged in like Labyrinth versus like this movie.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It was nuts. So before we really get into this, let's do our impressions of watching it again, and I want to start with Spaz since he's watching it right now.
It's on pause right now because I'm doing this.
It's on pause. I mean,
I can't do two things at once.
So for watching 80% of the movie after not seeing it for how long did you say? Yeah, 15, 20 years, I think you said. How does it resonate with you now after all this time?
Well, I'm with Chris. It's when I was watching it, and it was just like nothing. It's 80s, man. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know if it still holds up a bit, I think, but it's definitely strange, man. It's out there. Dude. It's out there. But I did what I did watch. It got me excited again because I remembered. I think I first saw this movie when I was 6 or 7 years old, and it scared the crap out of me. Well, the sewer monster and the floating eyeball thing, whatever that thing is, those things gave me nightmares for a week.
And then when it was licking itself with its eyes?
Yes, it was.
What was happening?
It brought back the good memories of when I watched it and all the times that whenever it's on, I watch it. It's like Shawshank. It's like Roadhouse. It's just one of those things. I love this movie. The dialogue is perfect. Kurt Russell's amazing in it. And Victor Wong, I think his name is. Whatever.
Wait, who are we referring to here?
The old dude that drives the bus.
Egg Shen.
Yeah, Egg Shen. I think his name is Victor Wong, if I'm not mistaken. I love everything he was ever in.
Three Ninjas. Light up the eyes, boys.
Yes. Three Ninjas, Tremors, Graboids. And the dude that played Lopan, he did that role so well. He was so good at that. The whole crazy with the old guy when he's talking to Kurt and Wang Chi or whatever the crap his name is, when they're tied up on the wheelchairs. That was a great scene. I like that.
Chris, you're the huge fan of this movie. Where are your impressions after watching this for the first time in a couple of years? I think it's been.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's basically just a fun 80s bonanza. It's a fun movie. That's what I like. I love it that it doesn't take itself seriously. You know, I think everybody that was in the movie looked like they were having fun, either ad-libbing or just having a good time. I had a blast watching it again. There was a few times where I definitely raised my eyebrows that I didn't remember certain things because it is just so out in left field, but like that's what makes it what it is.
That's what makes it a John Carpenter movie.
And the music.
Oh, the music.
Oh, the music's good.
It's just so synthy.
Right. All right, Dana, let's hear it. For your first time watching this movie, it started out as you had no interest in watching this movie because, for one, you never saw it before, you weren't interested, and then everybody's talking it up and pumping you up for it, and then you watch it. What happens?
I'm right back to square one. I don't know what I watched still. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
That is.
You are saying that about 80s perfection. How dare you?
I had to watch 2.5 hours of Inception. All right.
Hey, man.
I don't even think that we could go on the same thing there.
I'm kidding.
No, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but my original expectation was about correct.
I mean, a fantastic 80s movie that every family should watch at some point in their lives together.
Yes.
Sure. If that's where you want to go with it. I think that I'm going to save most of my commentary for my quotes.
Well,
let's leave it at that.
Let's get into some of your quotes because
you should give your background first, and then we can go into my quotes.
Oh, you want my
Join
review?
the fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So like I said, I had not seen this movie since I was a kid. I knew some of it, wasn't totally interested in watching it again. But again, you guys talked it up and the internet at large was going nuts about it. I think this is one of those movies that you either love it or you couldn't really care if you watch it again. That being said, for me, I'm more on the category of, okay, I saw it. I don't know if I need to watch it again. However, with a cult classic type movie, with a movie that has that kind of lasting impression, it does get better, I think, the more you watch it. There's a lot of movies out there. The first time I watched it, I said, this is awful, and I will never watch it again. But then I do watch it again sometime later. I'm like, okay, this is all right. So there were a lot of aspects of this movie I really did enjoy. I thought the action was great. A lot of the fight scenes, the choreography was awesome. Special effects for it being 86 were, was really well done. Some of the special effects, I didn't understand why they were there other than, hey, let's just do this. Like, what's up with the whole Lopan versus Egg magical thumb battle? Where did that come from?
You just let it happen. All
no,
right. Because I forgot about that, and I laughed real hard when I watched it again last night. It's just Lopan doing it too. Just playing a little video game.
All right.
Egg Shen's still just it's like a crystal battle, whatever. I mean, it was a battle of, I'm assuming, like the chi or whatever, like their forces, good versus evil. Yeah. But the Lopan video game finger thing that he throws in there,
cross pinky thumbs.
Yeah. Oh my god! I just think James Hong just was having a blast playing Lopan and just like did whatever he wanted, and like I feel like everyone that was there was just like, keep it because it's perfect.
Oh yeah, he did. Like I said, he was great at what he did, man.
James Hong knew exactly what this movie was going to be, and he just went for it. And he was one of the best parts of the whole movie.
Oh yeah,
like when he was becoming mortal, and he was giggling and laughing.
Yes,
that was amazing. That giggle, I cannot get that out of my head. It was so good.
That was actually pretty good.
I feel like everybody that was part of this movie at one point like saw the initial script and was like, yeah, I'm in, just because this sounds like a lot of fun to do. I mean, that's how I felt for the most part. It didn't feel like anyone was being forced to do it. I think everyone knew going in that it was just going to be this, I don't want to say like B movie, because it is, but it isn't. Like you said, it's a cult film. Like you either like it or you really don't have an interest in seeing it again and stuff. I mean, it's like, by all means, is it not a good movie? It's just one of those movies where it's like everything clicks as a viewer and you really like it.
If you're bored and you like it, watch this movie and you won't be bored. You'll be having fun.
So I don't know. I just like, that's the way I look at it. Even like Kurt Russell, Victor Wong, James Hong, all of them, even, Kim Cattrall. I think everyone was just having fun.
I think so too. Like I said, the action scenes were great. I loved watching a lot of that stuff. I think they did a really good job choreographing it. Got to see my man Gerald a lot.
Yeah, he was in it a lot.
I forgot how much he was actually in it. I thought he actually was killed in that alleyway scene, but then he was,
can't kill him off that fast, man.
He got stabbed in the back. I think that's crap. He deserves
better.
Yeah, so he should come back in Big Trouble in Little China too. And
with The Rock.
I don't know what to say, because there are movies of The Rock's that I enjoy.
You watch your mouth.
I've seen quite a bit of his. Hey, I very much enjoy Jumanji. I'll even throw on Doom from time and time again, just because, mostly because Carl Urban's hilarious in it, and it's just so bad that it's good. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna have a real hard time capturing what made this movie so enjoyable for people like me that that really do enjoy it. So, I say that like I'm hesitant because when I first heard they were remaking Jumanji, I was staunchly against it. I was like, Robin Williams, like I think it was 1995. I was like, that movie does not need to be remade. And then when I heard it was video games, like I was like really pissed off, because I was like, this is totally nothing at all. And then if you separate, what it's supposed to be and what it was with the new version, it's actually a lot of fun. And, I enjoyed it. So I take that back. So I do have my reservations on the remake. But
there are worse ideas for movies.
Right, exactly. I mean, like if it was like The Rock in a remake of like Roadhouse, like no.
Well, hopefully all these writers and creative types can spend this time during this virus and actually get
Thinking up new things instead of reboots.
Please. But getting back to a sequel of Big Trouble, the only saving grace I think it has is that The Rock says this is one of his favorite movies of all time. So I think he would do justice to it and wouldn't just put something out there just to say I did it. I think he would legit try to make it worthwhile.
Well, didn't I see that they're going to try and get Kurt Russell to do something with it too? I think I saw that.
The Rock's acting ability has definitely improved throughout the years. Like I never really watched the Fast and the Furious series. Whatever.
You should. They're pretty good.
I think there's like 25 of them.
There's 9, I think.
But like I did watch Hobbs and Shaw, and I enjoyed it. It's just campy fun, and like the one-liners and the dialogue between him and Jason Statham just made me chuckle the whole time. So watching him in that, and I've seen him in other action movies. Like I think I watched Skyscraper.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. So it's like, I'm interested to see what it is. It's hard for me because this movie is just so 80s, and those that were in it, I think really, really played their roles really well. So it's like, how are you going to spin this to be like a campy but yet engrossing movie that I think this movie was?
I think they could actually. I don't know.
If they embrace it for what it is, then
right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All I know is I need like at least like 95,000 square feet of like LED lights and skulls and stuff and fog machines and all that shit at the end of the battle. If it's not there, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, I love the neon lights accenting that ancient ceremonial room. That was...
Yep. I was just like, this is why I love it. This is so 80s. It's just like LED neon lights and like fog machines and animatronic skulls. I felt like I was at Universal, and I'm like, yep, this is ancient temple, ancient, marriage ceremony. Yet we have all of this.
Oh, here's another problem I had: the 3 storms. So when they first appear, hundreds of rounds are shot at them, and they just stand there. They're like invincible gods.
Well, yeah, you saw the one guy's weapon; he had back scratchers.
Yeah, and they died like punks.
Oh God!
The one guy had a temper tantrum and blew himself up.
Right? What the heck? One guy gets smashed by a statue, and then another one took a sword to the face because he was flying 100 feet in the air.
That one, I'll let slide. The other two, though, I mean, it's like,
yeah. Oof. But then, so it's Wang, right? Where did he get the superpower to fly and flip and clean?
Dude, they drink that juice stuff, man.
That is true.
Okay. Did it really happen, or was it?
I don't know. They left it vague enough that maybe it did.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't.
Use your imagination now.
It obviously did not improve Kurt Russell's fighting ability because he got stuck under a soldier for like 20 minutes and then knocked himself out with concrete and then whiffed his first knife throw.
Like I said, man, his persona's a tough guy, but he's actually, he's not tough. He's a sissy. He's a sidekick.
I think it was mostly his knee-high boots that really helped him. I kept seeing those was like the knee-high moccasin style like boots. I was just like, huh.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy your guys' interpretation of this movie a lot more than I thought I would.
You like our interpretation a lot more than the actual movie.
Yeah, you should post that last picture you sent us about Dana's face when you guys finished the movie. God, it looked like she wanted to come through the phone and kill me and creep for making her watch it.
No. You guys misinterpreted that.
I don't know, Dana. You look pretty freaking pissed off, man.
This is the kind of movies we need, though, because if we always did movies that everybody loved 24/7,
it wouldn't be fun.
To me, it'd be a very boring podcast because everyone would be like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing! Oh my god, it's so amazing!" It's like I like the fact that we do movies where like someone's like, I don't know what the hell I just watched, but my God, like that shit sucked. Or, oh my God, I've not done enough drugs to even like fully understand what's going on here.
I actually think drugs would have made this better for me.
I concur.
So I don't know. That's why I enjoy it, and I look forward to the movies in the future because I know there's a couple that where I'm just like I'm not super pumped to watch them, but I'm going to watch them. So
hey, let me say something that's probably going to really piss you off. Jack Burton, to me, he's obviously, I think we all agree, he was basically the sidekick that thought he was the leading man. So he had the bravado and the swagger of Han Solo, but was basically Jar Jar Binks.
Take it back. Take it back right now. Take it
No.
back.
Prove me wrong.
That is a bullshit comment, and I don't like you.
No, prove me wrong. He
Jar Jar
was a bumbling
No.
idiot
Like
that
Jar
got
Jar
lucky.
Binks?
No,
Really?
it's not Jar Jar Binks. There's another freaking character that he can.
Pick
No,
somebody else.
I'm gonna
Jar Jar.
Dude, I'm driving an hour to your house just to stab you in the throat. How dare you?
I don't know, because Jar Jar to me was almost like
Jar Jar
too
is stupid.
falling in,
Terrible.
like, everything was just like luck or in happenstance, where it's like, I do think at least Jack Burton, he intentionally was doing X, Y, and Z, and yeah, it might have taken a detour to get to X, Y, and Z, but he did it. Whereas Jar Jar would just happen to be there at that point in time, at that place, and like just fell into things.
You suck, Tim. You suck.
I don't see the correlation completely.
You are a terrible human being. Jar Jar Binks sucks. Jack Burton does not. He drives the Pork Chop Express. Shut your face.
Misa drives the Pork Chop Express.
I'm gonna jump in on this one. I think Jar Jar's a little bit extreme because Jack Burton made sense in this movie. Jar Jar does not make sense in Star Wars.
The thing, and like I'm saying, like there was a drive, there was intention behind Jack Burton's actions, whereas Jar Jar just happened to be there for the most part and just fell into shit and then successfully did whatever to benefit those with him.
Mm-hmm. I think the Jar Jar one's a little extreme. There's probably a better character.
You lose 3-1.
He
shut up, Tim.
Did nothing. So he caught a knife. Dude, he caught a knife and threw it back at Lopan. Okay.
Jar Jar did shit.
He saved the galaxy.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
No, he's not.
It's wrong, but you're entitled to it.
Tim should not have an opinion anymore after this.
I mean, everyone is. I look forward to another movie that we watched where I just simply am just like, it's terrible. I don't like this, and I'll make some really bad comparisons, and I'll feel okay.
Jack Burton saves the Earth from Lopan's takeover, and Jar Jar saves the galaxy from the Emperor, or caused the collapse. Whatever.
But did he?
He caused the collapse. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Dude, no.
This whole segment's gonna be trimmed down to like 4 minutes. We're like 10 minutes into this thing hard now.
No problem. 35 minutes into it, man.
So, all right, let's have some fun. Like I said, this movie.
Having fun.
No, this is great. All right, so this movie was so much more fun watching Dana enjoy this movie or not enjoy this movie. It was just watching her reaction, and some of the things that came out of her mouth was hilarious. The first one that I wrote down that I almost had to stop the movie because I couldn't stop laughing. The first time she sees Lopan in full, Lopan
in the alley
outfit and makeup and all that stuff, she stops and says, "What is that? A Chinese Rob Zombie?" And then she started comparing it to Jack Sparrow. So it was like if Rob Zombie and Jack Sparrow had a love child.
Jesus.
It's kind of accurate. It's accurate.
I can actually see the Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, yes. I can see the Jack Sparrow.
That's right, Egg-Shen. The best of two worlds.
And then that sewer monster, not the eyeball thing, the
sewer monster.
Bigfoot, yeah.
Whatever it was.
The guy that grabbed Gracie.
Yeah. She said
it didn't belong at all in the movie.
The thing that didn't belong at all in that movie was that insect that grabbed that dude in the sewer and then just disappeared. He won't come back.
That was not an insect. There was some kind of amphibious creature because they were walking around all the the bog area.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. And then
he disappeared because Egg-Shen threw a magical crystal thingy at it. All right, man, just accept this. God damn, dude.
What? Huh? What'll come out no more?
Again, where the drugs at? But so she referred to the right.
You want.
They did them all in the 80s.
Apparently for this movie.
So the sewer monster, I think, Dana, you compared it to Harry and the Hendersons.
That was the first one.
And then the Gorax from the Ewok movie.
Yeah.
To me, to me, he looked like Razar from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
That's a good one.
But it was fun. Just watching Dana and obviously the What the? There's a lot of that.
I mean, there's no easing into this movie. It's just tossing somebody into the deep end of the pool. I mean,
Pretty much.
to be honest, like you can't prep anyone for this. It's just like you're gonna watch Big Trouble in Little China, and you're gonna enjoy this hour and like 37 minutes of awesome concentrated 80s just coming at you for an hour and 37 minutes.
All I'm gonna say is I was not prepared for it.
No one is.
I don't think you can. You just gotta kind of accept it. And like Tim said, it's one of those movies where it's like, do you enjoy it? You'll go back and watch it. You possibly will own it. Or it's like, yep, I saw this. I have no interest in seeing it again.
That's the thing. I think it started off a little slow as far as getting into the craziness. And I think as soon as they were at the airport and those gang members walked in with those sweet sunglasses, it was on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like I said, and by all means, this is not a great movie. I think, like, yeah, it's super slow. It's disjointed as far as a story. So it's like, yeah, the first 15, 20 minutes, I mean, the first 15 minutes is just like, Jack Burton hanging out, gambling and drinking, having a good time. And it's like, oh, I got to go get my fiance. You want to drive me because I owe you money. So obviously I'm going to go to a busy airport. Let's take my semi truck. I mean, I could poke holes in this all day because there's tons of holes to be poked, but it's like you enjoy the movie for, what it is. But yeah, it's super slow. Then it's really fast. Then it's just off the rails crazy shit. And it's like, then it ends.
But does it really end? Because as he's driving away, the sewer monster's in the back of his truck. So maybe that's where
going to start off at.
That's where the rock comes from.
I will give that a try at least when it comes out.
Ooh,
wow,
that's a bold statement, Dana. Well,
That's what I do.
If they officially acknowledge that it is actually in pre-production, I'm going to start a petition to get Gerald Okamura to show up in that movie again. He needs redemption.
He should be in there.
He needs redemption.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump into a couple pieces of trivia. I didn't get too much because the movie was just crazy enough as it is. There's not much else to go off of, but one thing that we did touch on in the first half was how the studio really kicked this movie in the nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it might be part of the reason why it had a lot of trouble, at least from a script perspective, marketing, and it just didn't do well in the box office. At a very high level, it started off with Goldman and Weinstein writing the screenplay. They want it to be a weird Western, so it takes place in the past, like Spaz, you brought up. Fox wanted it to be more in a contemporary setting. So they had him do some rewrites, and I think by the third rewrite, Goldman and Weinstein just said, no, this is enough. All right, we're done with these major alterations to the script. We're done. This is it. So they hired Richter to come in and redo it. Richter basically said this whole screenplay is a joke. We need to redo it all. And he basically rewrote the entire movie except for the origin story in the background behind Lo Pan. So then Fox tried to get Goldman and Weinstein out of the writing credits of the movie. They took them off all the posters and marketing. But the Writers Guild of America then stepped in and said, nope, they get the written by credit for originating the story, and Richter can have the adapted by credit. So this is just a lot of back and forth, a lot of fighting over the script. And on top of that, there's another movie that was coming out that features this ancient mystical Asian cultures called The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to get their movie out first. So they rushed it into production so that they could put it all together and get this movie to be released 5 months before The Golden Child comes out, to say they did it first and The Golden Child was copying them. Well, it didn't work out too well.
No.
It was like I said, they had like a $25 million budget and made 11 in the box office, while The Golden Child had a $25 million budget and made about 80 million. It did not work out very well. However, I don't see anyone talking about The Golden Child like they are Big Trouble in Little China. So at least it has that going for it.
Mm-hmm.
As we're winding down, we have some very different views on this movie. So let's jump into our final ratings. Dana, first time seeing this. You said you'd watch the sequel, but your original rating was a 4. Where are you at? Yes, where are you at after rewatching this?
Then it's going to stay a 4 because I thought I gave it a 3, so I'll give it a 4. It'll stay there. So it's not the worst thing I've seen. So I mean,
just digging yourself a hole over there.
Yeah,
it's okay. You can continue. You can take me for that. But if I would actually watch the sequel, it can't be that bad.
That's true.
So that's all I'm saying.
All right, Spaz, whatever rating you give it, I'm going to take 80% of that score since you've only watched 80% of the movie.
Hey, Spaz, like you were saying, it's just like school again. You only did part of the work. You only get part of the grade.
Well, because two of the characters were from this movie are basically in Mortal Kombat. Lo Pan as Shang Tsung and
You're Googling this. I can see you working
yes,
right now.
Yeah. I'm doing homework.
Now you're just gonna sit there. Oh, okay. This
and Raiden being obviously Lightning Guy. I'm gonna keep mine score at a 7.
7. So 5.6.
Yeah.
You.
Wait, who is in Mortal Kombat?
Raiden was the Lightning Guy, and they're both lightning dudes.
Yeah.
And Shang Tsung was Lo Pan.
He's doing comparisons.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the actors, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No, the characters.
I think he's talking about the similarities between the two and stuff. Yeah, I mean,
one of them's
Christopher Lambert, so
right, it's true. There can only be one.
And then I'm blanking on the guy that played Shang Tsung. He was also in Nash Bridges.
There can be only one, right? Dude, we should watch that movie, by the way.
I wanted to say, if you want to go actual actors, guess what? Gerald Okamura is in Mortal Kombat.
Yep, he is. He's He's one of the 12 or 13 warriors near the end that pops out of the grates that Liu Kang fights.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shang Tsung is, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, so excuse me. Kari Hiroki Tagawa. He's been in a ton of stuff, too.
Yeah.
Like I said, straight up, Nash Bridges. What up? John Johnson.
Yes, Miami Vice. What?
All right,
yes, he is in it, yeah, which is pretty funny. I do remember him distinctly in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Gerald. He's got that epic facial hair, right?
Yeah,
he does. He's got that. It's like a long goatee and the mustache and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, he pops up at the end. It's one of the ancient. Oh God, it's been a minute since I've seen Mortal Kombat, but like one of the ancient warriors that Liu Kang has to fight.
Yep. All right. Well, so Dana originally scored it a 4. Spaz originally scored this a 7. Gave it a 7. So Chris, where is your rewatch rating after previously giving it a 7? You gave yourself some wiggle room. How wiggly is that?
I'm gonna bump it up a notch, a skosh, if you will, up to 8. And the reason is because it's been a while since I've seen a movie, which is just fun. And it was nice to pop that on and not take anything seriously for like an hour and 40 minutes and just have campy 80s fun. And that's why I rank it so high. It's one of those where it's like you can throw it on and just have fun with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's
so
long of a movie too, which is nice.
I know, what is it, an hour 40? I forget.
Hour and 30 minutes or hour and 35.
It's fairly short. Yeah.
So I originally scored this a 6, and I'm going to take mine down a skosh to a 5. Now let me clarify.
Whatever you say there, Jar Jar.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you're the Jar Jar Binks of our friend.
Jar Jar of our podcast. Giant phony baloney.
How rude. So let me clarify. Like I said, I think the action, the one-liners, and the comedy are great. I laughed quite a bit. The story, the dialogue, some of it, it just did not work for me. And so, I mean, whatever. I'm not looking at the camera, so I can't see whatever you did. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that works for me. But I don't know. If you want to watch a supercut on YouTube, see a lot of the comedy bits, the action scenes, it was wonderful. I think that's the great stuff. The one-liners, Jack Burton most of them were great, especially in the sewer scene when he sees the floating eye thing. He's like, what is that? Don't tell me. It just goes along with his other 116 other questions, but
my God, no. Please, what is that? Don't tell me.
It was, I'm going to throw that right in the middle there. It had its moments. It had its bad moments too, but I think it's something that I'm definitely going to give myself a chance to watch it again down the line, now that I now know a lot more of the movie than I did when I was 6 or 7 when I watched it the first time. So we'll see. I think the funny bits I'll find just as funny, or if not funnier. And some of the dialogue, some of the stupid lines, they'll still be stupid to me. So
the godfather of Little China, Mr. David Lo Pan. You mean the David Lopan that's chairman of the National Orient Bank and owns the Wing Kong Import-Export Trading Company, but who's so reclusive that no one's even laid eyes on this guy in years?
Who the hell are you, anyway?
It's right there in the middle, and we'll see what happens. That gives us an average score of 6 for our rewatch, which is exactly the same as our nostalgia. So it didn't budge. Individual scores went up or down a little bit, but it's just hanging out at a 6, which is a.
I'm going to change my score now.
No,
you can't do that.
I'm going to give it a 7.25.
Oh my god!
I'm just kidding, dude.
Did you want to rip off my 0.8 or 0.5?
With Inception? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you wouldn't commit.
Still don't want to.
Too bad. You committed. It's over. It's been cemented in our log.
Yep.
My wizard Excel document. So we're at a good 6, which it puts us above Bad Boys. So let me be clear.
And rightfully so.
But it is what it is. What are you gonna do? So there we are. That was an interesting ride. So thank you for being very persistent with watching this movie, Chris. I'm glad we got through this and no one left the podcast in the middle of recording.
I mean, I think the big thanks goes to Nikki for talking it up last time and getting me excited to watch it again. Where basically I just bugged everyone until we could do it.
Yeah, I joined 3 different groups on Facebook related to John Carpenter movies or Big Trouble in Little China. And just like with Jaws, these guys are nuts. They're all having so much fun, especially right now with the memes with coronavirus and some of the stuff that our president has been saying lately. But the guys have a blast. So if anyone wants to join those groups, just check them out. Again, special thanks to Gerald Okamura for giving me some time to interview him. Definitely check out everything he's doing on social media between Instagram and Facebook. He's very active, very appreciative of the fans, and very gracious with his time. So if you get a chance to check out his website or on social media, definitely do so. Thank you again for listening to our latest episode. Definitely subscribe and rate us on Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcatcher is. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to interact with us between shows as we prep. Especially with the way we do things now, we have a lot more lead time into our prep, so you can participate in some of our post and pre-reviews, share your own nostalgia with us. If there's a movie you want us to watch, now is the time to do it, because we just spent an hour and a half last week writing down all the movies we plan on watching for the rest of this year. So I want you to screw up our schedule.
Well, somebody already did, I saw.
Well, we have some recommendations. So if you want to make sure that we review the movie that you want us to do, go to oswpodcast.com, and there you can make your request for us to watch a specific movie of your choice. With that, thank you. Big Trouble in Little China. What can you say? It's all
in the reflexes.
It's interesting.
Let's all take a ride on the Pork Chop Express.
That's right. Pork chop sandwiches.
God damn, those are good.
Not so good.
Run. All right, thanks everybody. Before we wrap up, I wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the amazing and talented artists that I discovered while exploring Big Trouble in Little China. Many of these artists make their living by selling their works at various conventions and special events. However, with this pandemic, most events have been either rescheduled or completely canceled. So, if you are a huge fan of Big Trouble in Little China, and you want a very unique way of showing it, there are a number of great websites and artists you can buy prints, collectibles, toys, board games, and even skate decks from. I will have this list and all the links to the online stores in the show notes and also on social media. I know there are a few Gerald Okamura items that I want to buy when I return to the office. Wing Kong rules!